Before praying, let us read Deuteronomy 31:6. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. There are moments when loneliness feels deeper than silence, when even in a crowded room, your heart feels unseen and distant. It can be a quiet ache, a sense that no one fully understands what you carry, or that something within you has become disconnected from the world around you. In these moments, this promise speaks gently but powerfully into your heart. You are not abandoned. You are not forgotten. Even when you feel alone, God is with you, closer than your thoughts, nearer than your breath. His presence does not come and go with your feelings. It remains steady, faithful, and unchanging. When loneliness lingers, it can begin to shape the way you see yourself. You may start to believe that you are isolated, that your journey is yours alone to carry. But this is not the truth God speaks over you. He does not stand at a distance, watching you struggle on your own. He walks with you, step by step, even in the moments when you cannot feel Him clearly. His presence is not always loud or obvious. Often, it is quiet and gentle, like a soft reassurance that you are still held, still seen, and still deeply loved. You do not need to fight your loneliness with force or pretend that it does not exist. Instead, you can bring it honestly before God. You can sit in that quiet space and allow His presence to meet you there. Even now, as you feel what you feel, He is near. He understands the depth of your heart, the thoughts you have not spoken, and the longing you cannot fully explain. Nothing about your loneliness pushes Him away. It draws Him closer. As you reflect on this promise, allow it to settle gently within you. You do not need to have everything figured out today. You do not need to feel strong or certain. You only need to remember this one truth: you are not alone. Even in your quietest moments, even in your deepest feelings of isolation, God is with you. He will not leave you. He will not turn away. And even now, He is gently holding your heart with a love that will never let you go. The silence that still holds you. There are moments when silence feels heavy, when the absence of voices, answers, or connection becomes something you can almost feel around you. It is not always loud loneliness that weighs on the heart, but a quiet stillness that lingers, making everything feel distant and uncertain. In these moments, you may wonder where God is, why His presence does not feel as clear as you hoped, or why the silence seems to stretch longer than you expected. Yet even in this silence, there is something deeply important to understand. Silence does not mean absence. God is still there, holding you in ways that are gentle and often unseen. It is natural to want to hear something clear, to feel something strong, or to receive an immediate reassurance that everything will be okay. But God does not always speak in ways that are loud or obvious. Often, He meets you in the quiet, in the stillness where your heart can begin to settle. The silence you feel is not empty. It is filled with His presence, even if you cannot immediately recognize it. Like a soft breath that you do not notice until you become still, God's nearness is constant, even when it feels hidden. When you sit in silence, your thoughts may begin to wander. You may revisit moments, questions, or feelings that you have not fully processed. This can feel uncomfortable, even overwhelming at times. But within this space, something sacred is taking place. God is allowing you to slow down, to gently face what is within you, and to begin a deeper kind of healing. He is not distant from this process. He is present within it, guiding you quietly and patiently. There is also a gentle invitation in this silence to trust differently, not through what you hear or feel, but through what you know to be true. You know that God has promised to be with you. You know that His love does not change. And even when your emotions shift, these truths remain steady. Trusting in silence is not easy, but it is deeply meaningful. It is a quiet kind of faith that grows beneath the surface, strong and enduring. You may not always feel comfort right away, and that is okay. Silence is not always meant to remove your discomfort instantly. Sometimes it is where your heart learns to rest without needing constant reassurance. It is where you begin to discover that God's presence is not dependent on how strongly you feel it, but on the truth that He is always there. As you remain in this space, you may begin to notice small shifts, a moment of calm where there was once tension, a gentle breath that feels a little deeper, a quiet sense that you are not as alone as you first thought. These moments are subtle, but they are real. They are signs that even in silence, something is happening within you. God's presence in silence is not meant to overwhelm you, but to surround you softly. It is like being held without words, understood without explanation, and cared for without condition. You do not need to fill the silence with effort or worry. You can simply be, trusting that even in the quiet, you are not alone. So if today feels silent, if your prayers feel quiet, or if your heart feels still, do not be afraid of that space. Remain in it gently. Let it hold you rather than push you away. And trust that within this silence, God is closer than you realize, working in ways that are calm, steady, and deeply loving. A prayer when you feel alone. When loneliness settles deeply into your heart, prayer becomes more than words. It becomes a quiet reaching, a gentle turning toward God when you are not sure what else to do. You do not need to wait for the right moment or the perfect expression. You can come just as you are, carrying your silence, your questions, and even your emptiness. God is not waiting for you to sound strong. He is listening for your heart, exactly as it is in this moment. There is something sacred about bringing your loneliness into prayer. Instead of holding it inside, instead of trying to understand it on your own, you are placing it into God's hands. You are allowing Him to meet you in that quiet place where you feel most alone. Even if your words feel simple or incomplete, they are enough. Even if your prayer is only a whisper, it is heard. God understands what you cannot fully express, and He responds not just to your words, but to your heart. Let your heart begin to speak softly now. Dear God, I feel alone in ways I do not always understand. There are moments when everything feels distant, when even my own thoughts seem quiet and heavy. I do not always know how to explain this feeling, but you see it clearly. You know the parts of me that feel disconnected, the silence that lingers, and the longing within my heart to feel close again. Lord, stay with me today. Even if I cannot feel you strongly, help me to trust that you are here. Sit with me in my quiet moments, in the spaces where I feel unseen or forgotten. Remind me that I am not alone, even when it feels like I am. Let your presence be gentle and steady, like a calm that slowly fills the empty spaces within me. I ask for your peace to rest in my heart. Where there is loneliness, bring a quiet comfort. Where there is heaviness, bring a lightness that I cannot create on my own. Help me to release the fear that I am alone, and replace it with the truth that you are always near. Even in silence, even in stillness, you are with me. I declare that I am not abandoned. I declare that my life is not empty, even when it feels quiet. I declare that you are walking with me, guiding me, and holding me through every moment. Help me to believe this more deeply, even when my feelings try to tell me otherwise. Teach me to rest in your presence without pressure. I do not need to force anything. I do not need to understand everything. I only need to remain open to you, trusting that you are already here. Help me to notice the small ways you are near, the quiet peace, the gentle reassurance, the calm that settles within me when I pause. Thank you, God, for not leaving me in my loneliness. Thank you for hearing me, even when my words are few. Thank you for staying with me, even when I struggle to feel it. I trust that you are holding me now, and that I am never truly alone. As this prayer settles within you, allow yourself to remain in that quiet space. You do not need to rush away. Let the words rest gently in your heart, and trust that they have been received. Prayer does not always change your feelings immediately, but it changes something deeper. It reminds you that you are connected, that you are heard, and that you are not alone in what you are experiencing. And as you move through your day, carry this gentle truth with you. Even in your quietest moments, even in your deepest feelings of loneliness, God is with you. He is near, steady, and present, walking beside you in a way that is calm, faithful, and full of love. Trusting God in quiet loneliness. There are moments when loneliness does not come with noise or tears, but with a quiet heaviness that lingers beneath everything you do. It is a feeling that stays even when your day continues, even when you try to move forward as usual. In these moments, trust can feel distant. You may wonder how to trust God when you cannot feel His presence clearly, when your heart feels still and your prayers seem to echo in silence. Yet even here, in this quiet loneliness, trust is not something you need to force. It is something that can grow gently, even in the smallest ways. Trusting God in loneliness does not mean that the feeling disappears immediately. It means choosing to believe, even softly, that you are not alone, even when it feels like you are. This kind of trust is not loud or certain. It is quiet and steady, like a small light that remains even in the dark. You may not feel strong, but you are still choosing to stay open, and that is enough. Loneliness can sometimes make you feel disconnected, not only from others, but from God as well. You may begin to question whether He is near, whether He hears you, or whether you have somehow drifted too far. But God's presence is not dependent on how close you feel. He does not move away when your emotions shift. He remains constant, always near, always aware of what you are experiencing. In this space, trust can begin with something very simple. It can be a quiet acknowledgement that God is with you, even if you cannot feel it. It can be a gentle reminder that His promises remain true, even when your heart feels uncertain. You do not need to convince yourself of everything at once. You only need to take one small step, one quiet moment of trust, and allow it to grow naturally. Sometimes, trusting God in loneliness means sitting with Him without words. It means allowing yourself to be still, to breathe, and to simply be present. You do not need to fill the silence or search for the right things to say. Your presence with God is enough, just as His presence with you is enough. In this stillness, something begins to shift, not always outwardly, but within your heart. You may not notice it immediately, but over time, trust begins to take root. It becomes a quiet foundation beneath your feelings, something steady that remains even when your emotions change. You begin to realize that you are not as alone as you once felt, that even in your quietest moments, there is a presence beside you, walking with you gently and faithfully. There may still be moments when loneliness returns, when your heart feels heavy again. In those moments, do not be discouraged. Trust is not about never feeling alone. It is about returning, again and again, to the truth that you are not alone. Each time you do this, your trust grows a little deeper, a little stronger, even if it feels small. God understands your loneliness completely. He does not expect you to overcome it instantly. He meets you within it, offering you a presence that is calm, patient, and full of love. You do not need to rush your way out of this feeling. You can move through it gently, knowing that you are being held every step of the way. As you continue forward, allow yourself to trust in a way that feels real and gentle. You do not need perfect faith. You do not need complete certainty. You only need a willingness to remain open, to believe, even in a small way, that God is with you. And as this trust continues to grow, you may begin to notice a quiet change within you. The loneliness may not disappear completely, but it will no longer feel as heavy. There will be a sense of calm that begins to settle in your heart, a quiet assurance that you are not walking through this alone. So take a gentle step today. Trust God in the middle of your loneliness, even if it feels small. And know that He is with you, steady and near, guiding you through this quiet season with a love that never leaves. The comfort of God's presence. There are moments when loneliness feels like a quiet space that nothing seems to fill, a stillness that lingers even when you try to distract yourself or move forward. In these moments, what your heart often longs for is not noise, not activity, but comfort, a sense that you are not alone in what you are feeling. God's presence offers this comfort, not in a loud or overwhelming way, but in a gentle and steady nearness that surrounds you even when you cannot fully feel it. God's presence is not something that comes and goes depending on your emotions. It is constant, unchanging, and always available to you. Even when your heart feels distant, even when your thoughts feel quiet and heavy, He is still there. His presence does not need to be proven by strong feelings. It exists in a deeper way, one that remains steady beneath everything you experience. Sometimes, comfort begins when you allow yourself to become aware of this presence. Not by forcing yourself to feel something, but by gently acknowledging that God is with you. You can pause for a moment, take a slow breath, and simply remind yourself that you are not alone. This simple awareness can begin to shift something within you, creating a small space where peace can start to grow. You may not feel immediate relief, and that is okay. Comfort is not always something that arrives all at once. It often comes slowly, like a soft warmth that gradually replaces the coldness of loneliness. It may show itself in a quiet sense of calm, in a moment where your thoughts feel less heavy, or in a gentle reassurance that settles deep within your heart. There is also a tenderness in the way God meets you. He does not rush your feelings or expect you to move past your loneliness quickly. He sits with you in it, offering a presence that is patient and kind. You do not need to hide what you feel or pretend to be stronger than you are. You can come just as you are, and He will meet you there. In this space, you may begin to notice that your loneliness feels different. It may not disappear completely, but it becomes less overwhelming. It is no longer something you carry alone. God's presence begins to share that space with you, gently filling it with a sense of peace that you cannot create on your own. There is also a quiet reassurance that comes from knowing that God understands you completely. He knows your thoughts, your feelings, and the parts of your heart that you have not expressed to anyone else. You are fully seen and fully known, and yet still deeply loved. This truth can bring a deep comfort, especially in moments when you feel misunderstood or unseen by others. As you continue to rest in God's presence, you may begin to find small moments of connection that feel meaningful. It may be a sense of peace during a quiet moment, a gentle thought that brings comfort, or a feeling that you are being held even when nothing around you has changed. These moments are subtle, but they are real. They are signs that God is near, working quietly within your heart. You do not need to search far for this comfort. It is already close to you, waiting to be received. You can return to it at any moment, through a simple prayer, a quiet pause, or a gentle awareness that God is with you. This comfort is not temporary. It is something you can carry with you, something that remains even when your circumstances change. As you move through your day, allow yourself to lean into this presence. You do not need to carry your loneliness alone. God is with you, offering a comfort that is steady, gentle, and deeply personal. And as this comfort begins to settle within you, may you find that your heart feels a little lighter, a little more at peace, and a little more aware that even in your quietest moments, you are never truly alone. When your heart feels empty, there are moments when loneliness goes beyond the feeling of being alone and settles into something deeper, a quiet emptiness that is difficult to explain. It is not always connected to what is happening around you, but to something within you that feels distant, as if a part of your heart has grown still. In these moments, you may feel disconnected not only from others, but even from yourself. The things that once brought comfort may feel muted, and the sense of warmth you once knew may seem far away. Yet even in this emptiness, God's presence remains steady and unchanging. Feeling empty does not mean that something is missing beyond repair. It often means that your heart has been carrying more than it was meant to hold, and now it is in a quiet state of rest, even if it does not feel peaceful. This emptiness can feel uncomfortable, but it is not without purpose. It is a space where God can begin to gently restore what has been worn down, where healing can take place beneath the surface in ways that are not immediately visible. You may be tempted to fill this emptiness quickly, to search for something that will bring immediate comfort or distraction. But true restoration often begins when you allow yourself to sit in this space without rushing to change it. God does not avoid your emptiness. He meets you within it. He sits with you in the quiet, offering a presence that does not demand anything from you, but simply remains. In this stillness, you are not required to feel a certain way. You do not need to force peace or create joy. You are allowed to simply be, to acknowledge what you are feeling without judgment. God understands the depth of your heart, even the parts that feel numb or distant. He is not discouraged by your emptiness. He sees it as a place where His love can begin to work gently and patiently. Sometimes, this emptiness is where new beginnings quietly take shape. It may not feel like growth, but something within you is being prepared. Like a field that has been cleared and is waiting to be planted, your heart is being made ready for something new. This process takes time, and it cannot be rushed. But it is meaningful, and it is held within God's care. As you remain in this space, you may begin to notice small shifts. They may not be dramatic, but they are real. A moment where your heart feels slightly lighter, a gentle thought that brings a sense of calm. A quiet awareness that you are not as alone as you once felt. These moments are signs that even in emptiness, something is changing. God's presence in this space is not overwhelming. It is gentle, like a soft light that slowly fills a room. You may not notice it immediately, but over time, it begins to change the atmosphere of your heart. The emptiness does not disappear all at once, but it becomes less heavy, less overwhelming, as His presence continues to surround you. You do not need to understand everything that you are feeling right now. You do not need to have answers for why your heart feels this way. It is enough to trust that you are not alone in it, that God is with you, even in this quiet and unfamiliar space. As you move through this moment, be gentle with yourself. Do not rush your healing. Do not expect yourself to feel different immediately. Allow your heart the time it needs to rest, to recover, and to slowly open again. And in this process, trust that God is working within you, even when you cannot see it clearly. Trust that this emptiness is not the end of your story, but a quiet space where something new is beginning to grow. Strength in the midst of isolation. There are moments when isolation feels heavier than loneliness, when it is not just the absence of others, but the feeling that no one truly understands what you are carrying. In these moments, your strength may feel distant, as though the energy to keep going has slowly faded. Even simple things can feel overwhelming, and your heart may grow tired from holding so much in silence. Yet even here, in the depth of isolation, there is a quiet strength available to you. Not one you must create on your own, but one that God gently provides. This strength does not always feel powerful or noticeable. It is not loud or overwhelming. Instead, it is quiet and steady, showing itself in small ways. It is the strength that allows you to take another step when you feel like stopping. It is the strength that keeps you moving forward, even when your heart feels heavy. It is the strength that comes from knowing, even faintly, that you are not alone in what you are facing. Isolation can sometimes make you feel disconnected from everything, including your own sense of purpose. You may begin to question your direction, your place, or even your worth. But God's view of you does not change in these moments. He sees you clearly, fully, and with deep love. Your value is not diminished by your isolation. You are still seen, still known, and still deeply important. In the middle of isolation, strength often begins with acceptance. Not acceptance of being alone forever, but acceptance of where you are in this moment. When you stop resisting the feeling and instead allow yourself to be present with it, something begins to shift. You create space for God to meet you, not in the future when everything feels better, but right now, in the middle of what you are experiencing. God does not expect you to be strong on your own. He understands your limits, your weariness, and your need for support. His strength meets you where yours feels insufficient. You do not need to force yourself to feel capable or confident. You can simply lean into His presence, trusting that He is holding you even when you feel weak. There may be moments when your strength feels almost invisible, when you wonder if it is even there. But the fact that you are still here, still moving forward, still seeking connection, even in quiet ways, is a sign of strength. It may not feel like much, but it is real, and God sees it. He honors every small step, every quiet effort, and every moment you choose not to give up. As you continue through this season, allow yourself to draw from this quiet strength. You do not need to carry everything at once. You can take one moment at a time, one breath at a time. Strength does not come from having everything figured out. It comes from staying present, from continuing, even when things feel uncertain. There is also a gentle reassurance in knowing that isolation is not permanent. It may feel long, and it may feel heavy, but it is not the end of your story. God is working within this season, shaping something within you that will carry forward into what comes next. Even when you cannot see it, even when it feels slow, something meaningful is taking place. As you move forward, remind yourself that you are not alone in your isolation. God is with you, not at a distance, but close, steady, and present. His strength is available to you in every moment, not as something you must earn, but as something freely given. And as this strength continues to grow within you, may you begin to feel a quiet resilience forming, a gentle ability to keep going, not with pressure or urgency, but with calm and steady endurance. You are stronger than you feel, not because of your own effort, but because you are held by a strength that does not fade, a strength that walks with you through every moment of isolation, guiding you gently toward a place where connection, peace, and hope begin to return. Finding light in loneliness. There are moments when loneliness feels like a long stretch of quiet, where everything seems dim and distant, as if the warmth of connection has faded beyond reach. In these moments, it can be difficult to believe that light still exists within your life. You may feel surrounded by stillness, unsure of where to turn or how to find your way back to a place of comfort. Yet, even in the depth of loneliness, there is light, not always bright or immediate, but gentle and steady, waiting to be noticed. This light does not always come in the form of sudden change or overwhelming clarity. Instead, it often appears in small and quiet ways. It may be a single moment of peace in the middle of your thoughts. It may be a gentle reminder that you are still here, still moving forward, even when everything feels uncertain. These small moments may seem insignificant, but they carry a quiet power. They are signs that your life is not without light, even when loneliness tries to make it feel that way. God's presence is the source of this light. It is not distant or unreachable. It is near, closer than you realize, even when your heart feels heavy. You may not always feel it clearly, but it is there, steady and constant. Like a soft glow that remains even in the darkest room, God's presence continues to surround you, offering guidance and comfort in ways that are gentle and patient. When you begin to look for this light, you may notice that it has been present all along. It may have been hidden beneath your thoughts, or overlooked because it did not appear as strongly as you expected. But as you slow down and allow yourself to be present, you may begin to see it more clearly. It may come through a quiet sense of calm, a feeling of being held, or a small moment where your heart feels a little less heavy. Finding light in loneliness does not mean that the loneliness disappears immediately. It means that within it, there is something more. There is hope, even if it feels small. There is presence, even if it feels quiet. There is a path forward, even if you cannot see it fully yet. This light does not remove your experience, but it changes how you move through it. Sometimes, this light appears when you allow yourself to pause, when you stop trying to escape your loneliness and instead sit gently within it. You create space for something new to emerge. In this space, God meets you, not with pressure or expectation, but with a presence that is calm and steady. This is where light begins to grow, not by force, but by gentle awareness. You may also find that this light comes through simple things, moments that feel small but meaningful, a quiet breath that feels deeper than before, a thought that brings comfort, a sense that you are not as alone as you once felt. These moments are easy to overlook, but they are important. They are reminders that even in loneliness, there is still connection, still presence, and still life moving within you. As you continue through this season, allow yourself to trust in this light, even if it feels faint. You do not need to see everything clearly. You only need to notice what is in front of you right now. Each small moment of light is enough to guide you forward, step by step. There may still be times when the darkness feels stronger, when loneliness returns and your heart feels heavy again. In those moments, remember that light does not disappear. It may feel hidden, but it remains. You can return to it, gently, without pressure, trusting that it is still there. God's light is not something that leaves you. It stays with you, even in your quietest moments, even in your deepest feelings of isolation. It is patient, waiting for you to notice it, to receive it, and to allow it to guide you. And as you begin to see this light more clearly, you may find that your loneliness feels different. Not gone, but softened. Not overwhelming, but held within something greater. So take a gentle step today. Look for the small light within your moment. Trust that it is there, and allow it to guide you forward, with a quiet hope that continues to grow even in the midst of loneliness, resting in God's nearness. There comes a gentle moment in your journey when the need to search, to strive, and to understand begins to soften. After walking through loneliness, silence, and quiet strength, your heart may begin to long for something deeper than answers. It begins to long for rest. Not just physical rest, but a deeper resting within your soul. A place where you no longer feel the need to carry everything alone. This place is found in God's nearness, a presence that does not demand anything from you, but simply invites you to be held. Resting in God's nearness does not mean that all your feelings disappear. You may still feel moments of loneliness, stillness, or uncertainty, but something changes in how you experience them. They no longer feel as overwhelming because you are no longer facing them alone. There is a quiet awareness that begins to grow within you, a steady knowing that God is with you, even in the moments when your heart feels quiet. This kind of rest is not something you achieve through effort. It is something you receive when you allow yourself to stop striving. You do not need to fix everything. You do not need to understand everything. You do not need to feel a certain way before you can rest. You are invited to come exactly as you are, with all your thoughts, all your feelings, and all your questions, and simply be. In this space, you may begin to notice that your heart starts to slow down. The thoughts that once felt overwhelming begin to quiet. The tension that once filled your chest begins to ease. You may not be able to explain it, but there is a calm that begins to settle within you. This is the peace that comes from resting in God's presence, a peace that does not depend on your circumstances, but on His unchanging love. God's nearness is not something distant or unreachable. It is already with you, closer than you realize. Even now, as you sit with your thoughts, as you breathe in this moment, He is near. You do not need to search for Him. You do not need to call Him from far away. He is already here, gently surrounding you with a presence that is steady, patient, and full of care. There is also a quiet safety in this nearness. You begin to realize that you do not need to guard your heart as tightly as before. You can allow yourself to rest, to release, and to simply exist without pressure. God is not watching you with expectation. He is holding you with compassion. This is a place where you can breathe freely, where your heart can begin to feel at ease again. As you remain in this space, healing continues to take place. Not in loud or dramatic ways, but in quiet and steady ones. Your heart begins to feel a little lighter. Your thoughts begin to feel a little clearer. And even though your circumstances may not have changed, something within you begins to shift. You may still have moments when loneliness returns, when your heart feels heavy again. But now, you have a place to return to, a place of rest, a place of nearness, a place where you are reminded that you are not alone. Each time you return to this space, it becomes more familiar, more comforting, and more real. God's nearness is not temporary. It does not come and go based on your feelings. It remains constant, always available, always present. You can return to it at any moment through a quiet breath, a simple prayer, or a gentle awareness that you are not alone. As you move forward, carry this place of rest within you. You do not need to leave it behind when life becomes busy again. It can remain with you, a steady foundation beneath everything you experience. And as you continue your journey, may you find that this rest becomes a part of you, a quiet strength that holds you steady, a gentle peace that calms your heart, and a deep assurance that no matter where you go, you are always near to God, and He is always near to you. As you come to the end of this quiet journey, take a gentle moment to pause and reflect. You have walked through loneliness, silence, emptiness, and quiet strength. You have sat with your feelings, allowed space for healing, and opened your heart, even if only in small ways. And through it all, one truth has remained steady. You have not been alone. Even in the moments when it felt like no one understood, even when your thoughts were heavy and your heart felt distant, God was there. He did not leave when the silence came. He did not step away when your strength felt weak. He remained, constant and faithful, holding you in ways that may not always have been visible, but were always real. As you move forward, you may still have moments of loneliness. You may still experience quiet days where your heart feels heavy again. But now, you carry something with you, a gentle awareness that you are not alone in those moments. You carry a place of rest, a quiet connection, and a growing trust that God is always near. Let us close with a simple and heartfelt prayer. Dear God, today I come to you just as I am. You see my heart completely, the moments when I feel strong, and the moments when I feel alone. Thank you for staying with me, even when I could not feel you clearly. Lord, be near to me today. In every quiet moment, remind me that I am not alone. When my thoughts feel heavy, bring me peace. When my heart feels empty, fill me with your presence. Help me to trust that you are walking with me, even when I cannot see the path ahead. I release my loneliness into your hands. I do not need to carry it by myself. Teach me to rest in your nearness, to find comfort in your presence, and to trust in your love that never leaves. Thank you for holding me, for guiding me, and for loving me through every moment. I choose to believe that I am never alone, because you are always with me. Amen. As you carry this prayer with you, remember that it is not just something you say once. It is something you can return to again and again, in quiet moments, in difficult moments, and in the spaces where your heart longs for connection. You are not alone today. You are not alone tomorrow, and you will never be alone on this journey.